Hello everyone and welcome back to Civil 3D for Land Surveyors. This is video 4 and today we'll be covering our finished product, which will be our boundary survey. This right here is a checklist from the Salt Lake County Surveyor, and I think it is a really good template or example of everything that is going to be on a boundary survey. So I just want to read through this real quick. So starting off, this type of map shall show the location of the survey by quarter section, township, and range, the date of the survey, the scale of drawing in North Point, the distance and course of all lines traced or established, giving the basis of bearing, and the distance and course to two or more section corners or quarter corners, including township and range, or to identified monuments within a record subdivision. All measured bearings, angles, and distances separately indicated from those of record. A written boundary description of property surveyed. All monuments set and their relation to older monuments found. A detailed description of monuments found and monuments set. The surveyor stamp or seal, which meets the requirements of Utah code. The surveyor's business name and address. The map shall contain a written narrative that explains and identifies the purpose of the survey, the basis on which the lines were established, and the founding monuments and deed elements that control the lines. So I think this is typically and generally what should be in a boundary survey, and that's basically what we're going to be doing. So for this video, I'll be going over every element separately and individually. This will be not a super comprehensive guide and walkthrough. Like, I'm still going to walk you through the process of making it and putting all of our stuff together, but yeah, some of this you're going to have to learn or figure out on the job, and like the more you do it, the more it just comes together and makes sense. Because I kind of just mindlessly go through and do all of this. So I'll try to explain what I'm doing and what everything is supposed to be there and explain it, but for the most part, this is a very simple process. This is just putting everything together at this point. Okay, so to begin here, we're going to start X-referencing all of our base files, getting our shortcut in, and so on, and start building this guy. So type xref, click this DWG here. We're going to do existing additions, open. Okay, we're going to do our existing parcel data. Alright, that's the only two we're doing, so we can just close xref. Make sure your working folder is set to the correct thing. And then create a reference for our surface. This will be 2 foot dashed. Come back here to your paper space, zoom in on your viewport. All right. Just change your scale. I'm gonna try 1 to 10, see how it looks. That's too far, too close. Come on. That's too close. Let's go 1 to 40. That's looking better. What if we do 1 to 30? Yeah, let's just do 1 to 40. Cool. We can just leave it like this. I'll just kind of center it a little bit better. Lock that guy down. And now we can start doing our labeling. So the first thing I'm going to do, actually what we're going to do, so I'm going to unlock this. change this 1 to 30. We're going to type MVS. MVS will allow us to change the rotation of our viewport here. So you type MVS, go to Align, then Rotate View. Click anywhere in the middle here, and we'll go 90 degrees. Cool. Come back into here, lock it. Take this, let's just adjust how far we need to show. Let's bring it all the way over here. Looks pretty good. Alright, I'm going to add contour labels to this. So we go to annotate, add labels. We're going to do, actually just click it. Just click this guy, it'll pop up with this menu. Feature, we'll go surface, and we'll do contour multiple. We'll have it label our minor. So we have major and minor contour will be labeled. Click add. You select the surface you're using. We're using this guy. You can kind of see what's going on here. Like this darker one is going to be a major contour, while these lighter ones are going to be minor contours. I accidentally hit a button, so I'm going to do this again. So multiple just allows you to draw a line through whatever it is you're doing, and it'll just make multiple labels through there. That looks good to me. Select this guy. We'll go through here, to there, to there. And we'll do one more from just one going straight down the middle. Alright, as you can see, it comes up with this line through here, so we're going to want to put a mask and also make it so it doesn't display that line. So just click what you're labeling here, right click, properties, go to, you have your, wherever this says, I can't even see it, it says display contour line, or what does this even say really? Yeah, that's what I thought, label line, click that as false. Masking, change that to from label style, and that should fix everything. And there we go. So that's all labeled now, so that should be good. Now we need to start adding labels. We gotta label what each of these roads are, the subject property, adjacent properties. You're gonna need information on those, so we need to throw labels on that. It all depends on the city. Some cities don't require as much information as others, so like for example this guy, let's go back into here. So this one, we need to make sure we're going to set our UCS, which is like our scale or whatever. We're going to set this to view, so V for view, so that way our words and labels and stuff that we'll be using here will come in according to the viewport. So for this, zoom in a little bit. We'll add a label here. We'll put justification middle center, and we're going to call this, oops, this all needs to be caps. Call it subject parcel. And then it depends, it literally depends on the city and county and whatnot that you're working in. Typically we do the parcel ID owner, address, and area. Okay, so I've put a couple of labels in here just for my adjacent parcels. With the adjacent parcels here, you can just leave it down to parcel ID, the owner, and the address. In fact, you can probably just do, it all depends. It all depends on what city you're working in, what they prefer to do. I always just do the parcel ID, so that'd be its number, and then the owner, and then the address of said adjacent parcel. So now we're gonna keep on labeling things here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start putting in labels for the roads. So that could be done by just going to like Google Earth and just looking and seeing what these roads are called. So like for example, this guy is North County Boulevard. So this guy is North County Boulevard. One thing, like it's okay to like abbreviate certain words when you're just labeling roads, but when it comes to like legal descriptions, you need to spell out boulevard all the way, or lane, or road. Anything that's abbreviated in legal descriptions, most of the time you want to make sure they are all the way spelled out. But for mapping stance, just throwing draft labels on here, this works and this is fine. So yeah, you want to make sure you label all your roads, which I'll just do that off camera because I think you get the idea. Is you just label your roads. North County, this one's 250 South, and this is like 2,100 blah 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 West or something. But yeah, you just label your roads. One of the things I forgot to do this is on our existing parcel. Right click on this guy. We're going to open the X reference. We need to throw labels on here. So to do that, just go to annotate, go to add labels, go to line and curve. We'll do multiple segment, and we'll do these as typically how these look when you're labeling these. So let's say let's put this down to single segment. This is a scale thing, but anyways, typically how these should look. I'm going to rotate this. This is how it's going to look on our paper space here. Let me just hop back here. I want to make sure my scales are the same within each drawing, so that way I can work with and scale this to the correct thing. 1 to 30. So typically how your labels are done is you have your bearing on top and your distance on the bottom. So most of the time this is how it's supposed to look, but I feel like that's kind of subjective. Like multiple different surveyors do different things, and like what we always end up doing is we have ours when we try to like differentiate between like boundaries and then like other lines. So I have like different labels for each one. This one's huge. But anyways, so like for instance, I have this boundary 20. So these are going to be fairly big, but it just does it as a straight instead of bearing on top, distance on bottom. This is fine. I see no issues with this. But depends who you're talking to. Some surveyors are very particular with certain things, especially some city surveyors or county surveyors. Some of them can be very picky on how things are supposed to look. And then some are not. Some don't care. They're like, oh, it worked. But yeah, it all just depends. But yeah, so if I put this guy back this way, you can see that when you are doing your labels, they need to run clockwise. So just double check as you're looking through this. Like my tie hits into here, so I know that it needs to run this way. So just make sure southeast. Yeah, makes sense. Northwest, da 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 da. Just follow along and make sure it's following the correct direction. You should be good. If you ever have a issue like this, see how small this dude is compared to the rest. If I just open up my properties here, so there's a general line type. If it will show, yeah, general line style, and then curve label style. Since this is a curve, you have to make your own styles for these, but you can just change it to wherever it is. This guy is saying it is C16, so if you wanted to fix this, you just go to your tool space, you go to your settings, you go to existing parcel data, right click, go to table tag numbering, and just read what's going on here. You can see this guy's starting off at 26. Just set that back to 1. Click OK. Click on this. Click on your label. It'll pop up with its own ribbon and like tab here. Just go to renumber tags. There you go. Now it's back to C1. You're gonna have to make a curve table for this. So in order to do that, just go back over to annotate. Add tables, line and curve, add curve tables, click this guy, click that, hit enter, click OK, and here we go. Here's our curve table. We can just put it up here. You want to put it somewhere where it's not going to get obstructed by lines, so that works. That's fine right there. So click save. Hop back over here to our ROS that we're working on. Your modified X reference will pull up over here. Just click reload, and this will refresh everything. So there we go. This guy is set to the back, so I got to fix that. So just click this. Display order, send it to the front. Now it's all up in the front now. I have some text off the screen, so to fix that, we'll just mess with the viewport. So I'm going to encounter a problem where my viewport is going to be too big and it's going to poke over here into my vicinity map. In order to fix this, what I'll do is I'll create like a boundary here. So let's say, let's go here to here, turn this guy on, go this way, down to there, down to here, up to here, and then over to here. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be clipping this viewport. Come on. So that comes up here in your layout tabs. If you go to clip, first off, if you make a boundary like I did, like this, you got to make sure this is a closed boundary, or box, or object, or whatever. Make sure it's closed. Cool. Click that off. Go to clip. So if you read your command line, it says click the viewport. So we click the viewport, then the object, click the object, and then boom, there you go. Simple as that. It'll fix it, and it also turns this now into like vertexes. You'll get it's like a polyline, so you have more editing abilities over your viewport compared to just a normal viewport. So it kind of like explodes it in a way. Alright, so now that I've shown you how to fix that, we made that curve table. So in order to get that curve table to show up, I'm going to go to model space. We're going to zoom in on our curve table here. We're going to go to view, and we're going to make a new view. We're going to name this curve table. Define this window. We'll go right to that. Enter. Click OK. We're just going to replace that. I've already made several curve tables, but it's all good. This should be fine. Go to I gotta rename this tab. Anyways, go to layout tools over here. Go to insert view, and then here's your curve table that you just made. You just put it in. Doesn't always do what you want it to do, but if you just click inside of it, type REA for, what does REA stand for? Oh, regenerate all. Regenerate all, that'll like fix some issues. It's basically the refresh button or refresh command. Need to turn that guy back off. Go here. To here. Cool. You can put this wherever your heart desires. I'm going to put it right over here for now. I don't know if I discussed this earlier, but when it comes to the layout for your maps, like the standard is you put your vicinity up to the top left, and then your north arrow and scale bar in the right corner. That's the typical standard, but I don't think anyone really will hold you to that. You can kind of put it wherever you want. Honestly, no one will get on your case about it. The only people that get on your case about it are those who are very much like sticklers for standards, but for the most part you can put your north arrow and scale bar anywhere as long as it's on here. Same with your vicinity map. You can put it wherever you want as long as it's there. Typically it's in the top left or the top right corner, and north arrow and scale bar is either top right or top left. 9 times out of 10 it's in the top right, but yeah. Honestly, I always put it wherever it fits, especially if I'm using every last inch of my paper space here. I'll put that north arrow wherever I can put it. I put it like right in the middle, like directly in the middle of my parcel before, because that was like the only place I can get it to work. But you can put it wherever you want. But if you are sticking to a standard, the standard is top left and top right. That's just a FYI for you. Alright, so now that you you got that in here. I'm gonna, off camera, I'm gonna put in the rest of my labels for these roads, and then we'll discuss what to do next. All right, real quick, another drafting standard that this one I do follow is you want to make sure your labels are all facing a certain direction. As you can see, how this is being just like the base is bearing and this distance is. You want to make sure your labels are kind of doing the same thing. So that way, when you got to think of it as if a contractor, construction worker, whatever, is looking at like these plans or this record of survey, when they're physically holding it in their hand, when they rotate it, you don't want text, like for say if this guy's rotated, you don't want the text popping up this way, right? Like you don't want your text going different directions, because then you have to sit there and constantly rotate your piece of paper or plans or whatever, because you have your text rotated and doing weird things, when like you should be able to see it one direction and like then on its side. You want to keep things consistent, so that way you don't have to be tipping your paper like upside down and all over the place just to look at like dimensions and roads and all this other junk, right? So like for instance, like default like Civil 3D and like CAD softwares will start putting your text certain directions. Like these are all facing this way, so that they're like parallel almost. Same like over here, it's all parallel. You want to fix overlapping text as well, but yeah, that's just another standard and something I think you should absolutely follow. Is make sure your text is consistent and is going in the right direction. Because like it's the same thing that I've done up here, like my vicinity map. I have these guys going the same direction, because you want to make sure you don't want to be flipping your paper all over just to see what someone has typed, written, or drawn on here. So, yep, that's the standard. Just wanted to point that out. Okay. So the last thing I need to label here, at least in the model space, is you want to label some of your existing conditions. What I mean by that is like you don't want to label the road because it's the road. People get that's currently there. So you don't need to be throwing labels being like, oh, existing road, and so on. Like people should be able to get that. You don't need to like be like super clarifying what to do there or what that is. But you want to label certain things like existing buildings or existing fence lines, whatever that falls on the property that is like a permanent structure or something that can display like boundaries of the parcel, like a fence line and so on and so forth. So on this property, what I'm going to be doing is I forgot to do this in the existing conditions video here, but I have points for like a fence line that is directly on here. It follows the property line fairly well. So all I would do is I'd go into annotate. We'd add we just add a multi-leader line. You'd point out to it, and you would just say like existing. Call out what kind of fence it is. So this was an existing barbed wire fence. So just put that on there. And then you just label this building here. This property is easy. There's really not that much we need to discuss or throw on here. And then just say existing building right here. Another random tip for you is you want to make your text, I think the typical, it is like font size of 10. Yeah, so font size 10 or 12, 10, 11, 12, either one of those. But for the most part, when you are adding labels and stuff, I say you want to make sure it can be read, but also you want to make sure like certain things don't overshadow other things. It's kind of like you have to think of things in kind of like an artistic type of way, where you don't want certain things to be like the centerpiece of your drawing. So like, yeah, you don't want things that are too obnoxious or too large or in the way. You just want to make sure you're at the standard size, but also not making things absolutely horrible to look at, if that makes sense. But yeah, you just want your text to have a size that is, 1, you can see it, and 2, don't make it obnoxious, basically. Do whatever you think works best. Yeah, that's my tip for that. Thanks for watching. That's all the time I have for this video, but I'll see you in part 2 of video 4.